A German sentry squints into the morning sky. No engine roar. No falling bombs. No explosions. Just paper. Hundreds of sheets drifting down like snow. For a moment, no one moves. April 1945. Western Germany. The front line is collapsing, but no one on the ground fully understands how fast. Private Karl Weber of an exhausted infantry unit watches the leaflets land in the mud around his boots. He expects a trick. Perhaps hidden explosives. Perhaps poison. But nothing happens. Only silence. He bends down, hesitates, then picks one up. The message is printed in clean German. It tells him his position is already surrounded. It lists nearby towns that have fallen. It names units that no longer exist. It even predicts the exact time an artillery barrage might begin. Karl looks up. There are no bombs. But something feels worse. Because this is not destruction. This is information. And it is precise. Above him, the aircraft is already gone. A modified Allied plane, stripped of bombs, carrying only stacks of printed paper. Its mission is not to destroy targets physically. It is designed to break something far less visible. Confidence. This is psychological warfare in its most calculated form. And it is working. Back at the Allied airfield, Captain James Holloway studies a map spread across a wooden table. He is not a bomber pilot in the traditional sense. His aircraft carries no explosives. Instead, it carries words. Carefully selected words. His orders are clear. Target specific units. Deliver leaflets at precise locations where intelligence suggests morale is already fragile. The timing is everything. Too early, and the message is ignored. Too late, and the opportunity is lost. Holloway checks the briefing again. German forces in this sector have been cut off from reliable communication. Their supply lines are collapsing. Many soldiers have not received clear orders in days. That uncertainty is the opening. The leaflets are designed to exploit it. Each one contains a mix of truth and carefully crafted suggestion. Real battlefield developments combined with predictions that feel inevitable. It is not about lying completely. It is about guiding the enemy to a conclusion they fear might already be true. On the ground, Karl reads the leaflet again. It claims that his division has been abandoned, that nearby units have already surrendered, that resistance is pointless. He looks around at his fellow soldiers. Some are reading. Others pretend not to care. But the effect is immediate. No one speaks. Because everyone is thinking the same thing. What if this is true? A sergeant walks over and grabs a leaflet from Karl's hand. He reads it quickly, then scoffs. Enemy propaganda, he says. But his voice lacks conviction. He orders the men to ignore it. To hold their positions. To wait for further instructions. But there is a problem. No instructions are coming. The German command structure in this area is fractured. Communications have been disrupted by constant movement, damaged infrastructure, and the sheer speed of the Allied advance. Orders that once took hours now take days. Sometimes they never arrive. This is exactly what Allied planners counted on. The leaflet campaign is not random. It is synchronized with real military pressure. Artillery units are repositioning closer. Armored divisions are advancing along multiple routes. Radio broadcasts are being jammed or replaced with misleading signals. Every element is designed to create a single feeling. Isolation. Karl notices something else on the leaflet. A safe conduct pass. It promises that any soldier who surrenders while holding the paper will be treated according to international conventions. It even includes instructions on how to approach Allied lines safely. This is not just psychological pressure. It is a clear alternative. Stay and fight, or walk away and survive. The decision is now personal. Hours pass. No artillery barrage comes at the predicted time. At first, this seems to discredit the leaflet. But then something more subtle happens. The soldiers begin to question everything else. If the time was wrong, was the rest wrong too? Or was it simply delayed? Doubt spreads faster than fear. By late afternoon, a small group of soldiers quietly leaves their position under the cover of trees. They carry no weapons. Just the leaflets. Karl watches them go. No one stops them. Not because it is allowed, but because no one is certain what the correct action is anymore. That uncertainty is the real weapon. Back in the air, Captain Holloway prepares for another run. This time, the target is deeper behind enemy lines. The risk is higher. Anti-aircraft guns are still active in scattered positions. Even without bombs, his aircraft is a target. He knows that one well-placed shot could bring them down. But he also knows the impact of what they are doing. Reports are already coming in. Enemy units delaying movements. Positions abandoned without direct engagement. Entire formations surrendering after leaflet drops combined with radio messages. This is not speculation. It is measurable. Holloway climbs into the cockpit. As the engines start, he considers the strange nature of his mission. He is flying into enemy territory. Not to destroy, but to persuade. Yet the effect may be just as decisive. On the ground, Carl makes his choice. As night approaches, he folds the leaflet carefully and places it inside his jacket. He tells no one, but his mind is already shifting. The next order he receives will determine everything. If it comes, and if it does not, then the leaflet becomes more than paper. It becomes a plan. In the distance, the faint sound of engines returns. Another aircraft. Another drop. Another wave of doubt. But this time, something changes. German officers begin collecting the leaflets aggressively. Orders are given to destroy them immediately. Punishments are threatened for anyone found keeping one. Which raises a dangerous question. If the leaflets are harmless, why are they so afraid of them? The order to destroy the leaflets spreads quickly. Officers move through the lines, checking pockets, watching faces, listening for hesitation. But the damage is already done. Private Carl Weber keeps his copy hidden, not because he trusts it completely, but because he cannot ignore it. At dawn, the front remains quiet. No artillery, no clear orders, no visible movement from higher command. This is the most dangerous moment. Not combat. Silence. Carl's unit is positioned along a narrow tree line overlooking a road that should be active with supply traffic. Instead, it is empty. Hours pass. Then, finally, a runner arrives. He is out of breath, covered in mud, and carrying partial instructions from a fragmented command chain. The message is simple but unclear. Hold position until further notice. No mention of reinforcement. No mention of retreat. No confirmation of what is happening beyond their immediate line. The sergeant reads it aloud. It changes nothing. If anything, it confirms the worst fear. They are on their own. Carl looks at the leaflet again. It had warned of this exact situation. Cut off. Isolated. Waiting for orders that may never come. Now the words feel less like propaganda and more like prediction. Midday approaches. This time, the sound of aircraft returns with greater intensity. Several Allied planes pass overhead. Again, no bombs fall. Only leaflets. Thousands of them. They drift across trenches, roads, and abandoned equipment. Some land directly on machine gun positions. Others settle on supply crates that will never be opened. The message has changed slightly. It now lists additional towns that have fallen overnight. It references units that have reportedly surrendered in nearby sectors. It even includes a revised timeline. The delay from the previous leaflet is acknowledged. That detail matters, because it makes the message feel responsive. Alive. Carl notices something else. The language is calm. No insults. No threats. Only statements. Facts mixed with carefully framed conclusions. This is not shouting. It is persuasion. Nearby, a young soldier reads the leaflet aloud to a small group. No one interrupts him. When he finishes, no one laughs. The sergeant approaches again, this time more aggressively. He orders the men to burn the papers immediately. A small fire is started. Leaflets are thrown in. But not all of them. Some are kept, quietly, hidden, because by now, the leaflets are no longer just information. They are a backup plan. In the early afternoon, distant artillery finally begins. Not on Carl's position, but close enough to hear. A slow, methodical pattern. It matches the general direction described in the leaflet. Not the exact time, but close enough. That is all it takes. The final layer of doubt settles in. Carl feels it clearly now. Not fear of death, but fear of being left behind for no reason. The difference is important. Fear can be resisted. Meaninglessness is harder. By late afternoon, the first organized group from Carl's unit makes a decision. They will test the leaflet. Not the entire unit. Just a handful. They approach the sergeant. He refuses at first, then hesitates, because he does not have a better plan. And he knows it. Finally, he gives a limited approval. A small group of soldiers, unarmed, carrying the leaflets, will move toward Allied lines under a white cloth. If they are fired upon, the rest will hold position. If they are accepted, everything changes. Carl volunteers, not out of bravery, but out of calculation. The group moves slowly. Every step is deliberate. every movement visible, across open ground that feels far longer than it is. On the other side, Allied infantry observe through binoculars. They have been briefed. They know what the leaflets promise. They know what to expect. Rifles remain lowered. No shots are fired. The German soldiers continue forward. The distance closes. 50 meters. 30. 10. Hands raised. Leaflets visible. And then it happens. They are accepted. No violence. No confusion. Just clear instructions given in calm voices. Weapons are not taken. Because there are none. The system works exactly as described. Back at the tree line, the rest of the unit watches. This is the payoff. Not theory. Not rumor. Proof. Within hours, more soldiers begin to leave. Not in panic. In sequence. Controlled. Deliberate. By nightfall, Karl's position is nearly empty. No battle was fought. No direct assault was needed. The objective is achieved. An enemy position has fallen. Without a single bomb. Without a direct attack. The next morning, Allied forces move in. They secure the area quickly. Minimal resistance. Equipment left behind. Defensive positions abandoned. From a tactical perspective, the result is clear. Time was saved. Resources were preserved. Casualties were avoided on both sides. But the deeper impact is even more significant. Psychological operations like this do not just affect one unit. They spread. Stories travel faster than orders. When one group surrenders successfully, others hear about it. When the leaflets prove accurate, their credibility grows. This creates a chain reaction. Commanders lose control not because they are defeated in combat, but because their soldiers stop believing in the outcome. Captain James Holloway receives confirmation of the results. Another successful operation. Another position neutralized. He reviews the reports carefully. Each one reinforces the same conclusion. Words, when used correctly, can shape the battlefield. Not by replacing force, but by amplifying its effect. The timing of the leaflet drops. The coordination with artillery. The selection of targets already under stress. All of it works together. This is not random. It is strategy. As the war in Europe moves toward its final weeks, operations like this become more common. Not because they are easier, but because they are effective. Every surrendered unit means fewer battles. Every abandoned position accelerates the end. For Karl Weber, the war ends not in a final stand, but in a quiet decision. A choice shaped by information, uncertainty, and the realization that the outcome is already decided. He survives, not because he fought harder, but because he understood what the leaflets were really offering. Clarity. In a war defined by confusion. This is the hidden power of psychological warfare. No explosions. No destruction. Yet entire positions collapse. Because in the end, wars are not only fought with weapons. They are fought in the minds of the people holding them.